Alright, and here are all the pieces for our air mechanism system laid out on the table. We have our fire pot, we have our tuya, we have our ducting system and the valve and the mechanical system to operate the valve when it's installed. We've taken the design drawings and the technicalities and the mathematics and we have turned it into a system. Let's go stick it into the forge and have some fun, get that fire started and hit some hot steel. Time this and bolts up. Ooh, it's gonna be fiddly. She's in. And finally she is ready to roll. How good is this, guys? The mechanism is in, the air system is in, the tabletop, the shroud. Hoorah! We're ready to forge. But let me just show you the mechanism that I was working on. I should mention real quick that the valve mechanism and everything that we've used in this was inspired by another YouTube channel called DF in the Shop. There's lots of great stuff on there about making bellows, different types of forge setups. Definitely go check it out. So thank you to that channel and the content created there for helping out with developing this forge solution. But check out this design. How does it work? So what we have done is our valve positioned here in the air system wants to move up and down to control the airflow. But in order to move that up and down, we're required to put in a leverage system because I ain't reaching in there underneath that hot fire pot every time I need to adjust the forge. So what we have is a side pivot where the fulcrum of this lever is moved to the side. There is a slot plate in the middle which collects the bolt attached to the valve, the sliding valve. When we want to open the valve, we lift that lever and it raises the valve with it, allowing more air to pass through our system and into our fire pot. But the real trick of this was getting this movement of the lever arm, which is vertical up and down motion, into something that was translatable to a different position further up, where whilst forging and in the process of actually creating, we could actually operate that system. And so by simply moving that back and forwards, we have full control of our air system, whether we want a little bit of air, lots of air, or no air at all. How good is that? So now let's flick the switch and see if it actually does the trick. I'm pretty excited. Look at the fire, it's going up the flue. Looks like the bypass is working. We haven't even cracked open our forge yet. None of the air is passing through the fire. Only the suction from the flue is blowing the flames upwards and a little bit of the air that's escaping passing by our system. But apart from that, look how well that's working. Heck yeah. Look at that. It's just roaring it up. That's the power of the bypass system working right there. Maybe too much charcoal. That's the beauty of having the extended table. We're now able to pile up charcoal on the sides and then draw from that as we need it later on. We have got some serious air. Fire is on, finally! And look at how the fire is just going to the sides, raking across up inside of the flue. Working, guys. Let's practice copy and see what happens. Oh, that's the course right there. Get back. Whoa. Proud to catch little sparks. And I'm getting wild hot right there. Oh my god. Heck yeah. Now we just need to adjust things and make sure it works well enough for us to do some forging, and we'll make those adjustments, a few more of those adjustments as we learn the lessons of what's going to work optimally with this system. Although I have been working with steel for like a decade now, it's one thing to note that I'm actually not an experienced blacksmith. Although I've been making armour and I work as an armourer on a daily basis, this is a whole other craft, a whole other technique. There's a mindset and approach to that that's different. That's forging steel. Here using my gloves to move the charcoal around. That's a really bad idea. What we should do is what we'll be doing shortly, and that's forging up a set of tools that will enable you to take care of your fire. So scrapers, some pokers, and a bunch of other different things. The fire management aspect of the poke forge is incredibly important. It enables you to take care of the steel, take care of the things you're working on, and not waste charcoal, not waste the resources that you're using to get the job done. Or burn the steel. Don't do that either. This is what happens when steel burns, essentially. There's too much oxygen, the fire's too hot, the steel literally turns to gas and burns, and you're left with what is absolutely useless piece of steel. We're going to have to cut the end off this and work with what we've got in terms of trialing out, making brackets and playing around with the forge. But always watch your steel, always keep an eye on where it's at, and make sure you have it in the right place in the fire. That's fun. Well, we've just wrapped up testing our forge and it works fantastically. Well, a little bit too fantastically, because we ended up starting to forge our brackets for the shelves and burn the ends on both of them. This thing just heats the steel up, lickety split. It's just super quick, and also there's too much air essentially coming through our system. So the air bypass system works fantastically, the air mechanism works great, there's just too much air. So that's one of the problems with the current setup. What we can do is dump some of the air out of that system. That's great. You have too much of something that's really good, you can always reduce that. The other thing is we need to forge up some tools. It's apparently obvious, desperately obvious, that we need to forge some fire tools, some scrapers, some pokers, and tongs of various different types to manage the steel that we're working with. But what did we get out of this at the end of the day? Well, we have finally taken all of our designs and all of our hard work to make this forge to the final thing. It's now working, and now it's just a matter of finishing off those final touches, improving the parts that don't work, and then we've got something that's reliable, that's going to be amazing here in the workshop. Check it out, guys. We have a professional-esque forge in the workshop. How cool is that? That's a dream come true for me, for sure, and can't wait to use it again. Anyway, that's a wrap for today's set of work. Next time, we're going to forge some brackets. We're going to get the shelves in, keep this project done. Let's go, let's get this workshop upgraded. It's exciting times.